Good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. Today is Thursday. Didn't do a video yesterday. Yesterday was a pretty active day. We had a meeting for the board of directors here for the HOA. I attended that, and then in the afternoon it was really rainy. Rainy all day yesterday into the night. So what I did some projects on the inside, which we'll probably talk a little bit about that today. But we do have a project for today, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. Well, let's go ahead and start today so we can get today's project underway. Well, without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Well, as you can hear from above, one of the tasks I got done yesterday was actually finally getting music to come through those speakers that we installed way back when. I have this really small mini amplifier that I purchased, and I got all the wiring I needed because I had some supplies that came in the Balak buy-in shipment. There was about 4 boxes that came in about 2 days ago. And they have little bits and pieces and parts of all of these different projects that we need to do around the house here at Villa Feliz. So now we have music upstairs, and that's a good thing, and it sounds really good. I'm really happy with that. But if you look over my shoulder here, this right here, remember this was the project started in the US at our US residence, and this is the box that contains the small pile marine amplifier and the Alexa device that sends music to the rock speakers. I know you remember those. Those are the ones that we gutted. We gutted all the electronics and we just converted these to standard passive speakers. So the project for today is to do a testing, because although we tested it, and I tested it here using this cable right here. This is the cable that connects to a couple of RCA jacks that connects to the rock speakers. And this is only about a 5-meter run right here. But the test is going to be to run it over this variable cable and run it to different parts of the yard. So that's what we're going to do today. Well, that's what the plan is for today. As long as the weather holds up, I can deal with the wind. I can't deal with the rain when it's raining really hard out there. And the ground is real soft, so if this works fine, burying the cable will be a no-brainer. I will say it'll take time, but it will be not nearly as difficult with the ground that's been saturated with the water over a bit of time. It'll be soft. But before we get started on that project, I have another project that's working in the background by itself. And I know my good friend Emily, both Dave and Emily, but especially Emily, is remember the farmers that we went to visit in one of the past videos. They got that big farm down south of our property here. Well, anyway, Emily gets so excited about planning and agriculture and helping people out with things like that. I asked her for some assistance on taking some cuttings from some trees and getting to root and possibly making trees from those little clippings. And she gave me some advice. I used her advice, and she said that I would be so excited probably in about 6 weeks when I start seeing little green leaves coming from the buds if the rooting process is starting. Well, Emily, if you are watching this, I have something exciting for you. It's not 6 weeks. This has only been about 1 week, and I want you to see what is happening to some of my clippings. Now, I want you to take a look at this, especially you, Emily. Look at this. We have some growth. Isn't this exciting? And what these are plum trees. This is clippings from plum. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these that look like they are doing so. Out of the 6, because this is also one right here, out of the 6, 5 out of the 6 are actually look like they're rooting properly. So I'm real happy about this. Now these are different type of trees over here. These are a combination of let's see, peach tree and olive tree. I know this is olive, I think this is olive as well. But the peach trees and the olive, they're not doing anything yet, so maybe they might take the amount of time that Emily was talking about. But I don't ever expect to get any fruit off of the peach trees because we don't have cold seasons here. And peach normally needs a cold season to be able to make them force blossoms to come up in the springtime to actually produce fruit. But we're going to play around with it. We're going to see how well it does. I can't tell you how excited I am about those seedlings started. So I hope we're successful with the peach and the olives. So the first thing today, the project, again, we are hooking up the rock speakers to the amplifier up here. Now we're going to try to work smartly. And when I say smartly, is we know that it works right now properly over this little 3, 4, 5 meter cable that we have here, and that's fine. But whenever you're running a long run like we are from here all the way to a distant part of the yard, what you're going to do, you're going to get loss. You'll have loss over the cable. The longer the cable, the more power it takes to go across that cable. So we don't have any issues with later on, after running it all and find out that there's a problem, we're going to run the cable now all the way, the entire length of the cable, cut it off at both ends, allowing for extra length at both ends in case we make a mistake on our calculation. Then we're going to hook it up right here. We're going to take one end here and the other one that might be 30 meters long or something like that. I don't know what the length is right now. But what we'll do is we'll connect it directly up to the speakers here. If it works fine here, logically it will work fine in the yard. Okay, well I have the termination points for both. These are where the speakers are going to connect. And what I purchased one of these RCA jacks that has 2 screw connections, a positive and a negative right here. And this will make it very simple to make the connection that goes up inside the speaker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim back both of these, make this connection here. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put some heat shrink on here. I have some large heat shrink, part of my heat shrink kit, and I'm going to run it through here. I'm going to connect this up, and what it's going to do, it's going to provide more of a waterproofing. We'll make it, I would like to go around here, so maybe I can stretch it a little bit to go around this portion right here, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And what that will give us is the ability to keep water from, when it rains really hard, we don't want water getting on these 2 terminals right here and shorting out the signal. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to get some needle nose pliers, and I'm going to stretch this section out right here. This is a common trick of the trade for people working in electronics. And this is actually quite elastic. You can see I will stretch it out here. And you keep on doing this. Don't do it all hard at one time, or you can actually break it. For all the purposes that we need to have done right here, this will work just fine. We won't mess with this end down here. And then you'll just keep checking to see if you have enough stretched out that you can get the entire section in. And we're just about there. You see, that's how much. We'll just keep doing that until we have enough flexibility so that it will cover the entire RC or the RCA connector. We'll go ahead and make the connections. On the connection, they have a plus and a minus. Usually the red will be the plus and the black will be the minus. You want to keep your polarity correct between your amplifier and your speakers. And we'll slide our heat shrink up over it. Hopefully it hasn't. There we go. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do, we'll grab our heat shrink gun. Now that this is done, we'll go ahead and do it for the second cable we have down here. We'll have both of these prepared, and then what we'll do is we'll take the other end, we'll trim it, we'll connect it to the amp, and we'll test the sound coming out of the speakers. Now that I've got the end wire stripped and ready to connect, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the power to the system here. And then I'm going to connect these up to the terminals, and then we'll do our test. Well, let's disconnect our test cable and connect up our new connections that are going directly into the back of the amp. I also have the Alexa app on my smartphone, so what I'll do is from here I'll try to activate it to make sure that everything works from the very beginning to the very end. Alexa, turn on yard amp. Okay, so everything turned on as far as the amp goes. And normally the way it works is you wait for the Alexa device to initialize, and then we'll go ahead and see. I already hear there's noise, because the noise confirmed coming out through the speakers down there, so I know it's going to work, but we'll just do a full functional check. Alexa, play NPR News on yard speakers.
Here's NPR News now from TuneIn. Resuming NPR News, August 7, 2019, 4.
President Trump is visiting largely Latino.
Okay, let's go down to the speakers and make sure that they're working properly.
Walmart killed at least 22 people after discovering someone's anti-immigrant writings. Federal officials are calling the shooting an act of domestic terrorism. Demonstrators began lining up to protest Trump.
Okay, it appears everything is working properly. Next thing we have to do is we have to do the cabling. The cabling going from the yard to the back of the house is going to be quite easy. The hardest part, and it's the part, and it's not so difficult, but it's one of those kind of things you have to be really careful. Remember, we are going to penetrate the wall. We're going to penetrate through the wall to the back of this waterproof container. Now, you won't see the hole on this side. So when we drill, we're going to want to drill from the outside coming in case we have a blowout. Remember, we talked about blowouts when you're drilling through concrete walls that have plaster coat on each side. When your drill gets through to this point right here, and this is plaster coat, it will blow off a big piece usually of plaster if you're not extremely careful, or use a very, very small drill bit and just kind of ream it out as you go along. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to drill from the outside in. But right now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run the cable and put the speakers outside. All right, well, I had to stop. It's raining. So I'm going to take this opportunity to get a head start on some of the video editing, and hopefully it'll stop soon. Normally the rain, it's on and off and on and off. But the progress is going pretty good, as you can probably see from the time-lapse videography. And I don't think I'm going to get it done today because of the weather, but who knows? Maybe we'll get some dryness later on and I'll be able to continue. We have all of the direct burial cable. It's all buried now, all the way from the speakers all the way, and this is the entry point. We have to find some way to get through this part of the wall into the garage, right there where the weatherproof housing for the amp is located. Now, it's actually located right back over here on this side, so it's very convenient, but we want to be really precise, and we don't want to make any bigger hole than we have to. So that's the next step. I'm not sure if we're going to get to that today because it's really close to the end of the day, and I'm happy with the progress with the amount of work that we have done now. So let me see if I have enough time to continue or if we're going to do this tomorrow. Yep, same old hot pone. Anyway, I think that's going to be about it for me for today. I'm kind of tired. That was a lot of work getting all that down. And if you look over my shoulder, it looks like all this is coming in this direction. I don't want to be drilling a hole in the side of the house, making a hole with possibly a lot of rain that might be coming any minute now. The biggest part of today's job is completed. The speakers are in place. They're working. As a matter of fact, I think I said sounds of the jungle coming out from the speakers. That's not sounds of the jungle. I think that's ocean sound. That sounds like waves by the ocean. So that one's in place. We'll go up to the front. We'll look at the one and see if it sounds the same. Yes, now it does. It's working. I think I'm going to put on some type of meditation music, or maybe some Japanese sounds in the background, because we've got the Japanese, sort of like a Japanese botanical garden over in the corner. We'll see what that sounds like. Well, the weather is actually getting really bad, so I'm going to close for today. I got to move the Hilux. The Hilux is right underneath that coconut tree, and the wind is blowing in that direction. And we have a lot of fronds that are going to fall off of the coconut tree, and possibly some coconuts. You see the ones down here that have already fallen off. let me get that vehicle out of the way. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Even though we haven't completed the task, we're close. We're almost there. Drilling a hole, reattaching a few wires, and that job is complete. And there are plenty of other tasks, there are plenty of other projects that will be coming along as a result of us receiving that ballot buy-in box the other day. So we'll continue on with the project, and I hope you're enjoying the project as I am enjoying putting these things together. So if you enjoyed today's video, please give me a thumbs up, please share, and if you have not subscribed, just click on that little My PI Dream heart in the bottom right hand side of your screen. You'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. So until such time, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.